Hey everyone, it is Thursday, May 12th. The time right now is 4:50 p.m. and the temperature is around 22 degrees Celsius. And there's a look south towards Exhbition Place, where they hold the annual Canadian National Exhibition. And that right there is the Dufferin Gate. And that was built in 1959, and that replaced the original gate. That was built in 1895, I think. And this here is Dufferin Street. And for this one, I'll be walking north 3 kilometers or so up Dufferin Street to Dufferin Station. And this here is the Gardner Expressway. That's the main east-west highway running along the south end of the city. And that's a look towards the downtown core. And just up ahead here, we'll be crossing over the rail corridor. And it looks like there's a GO train at the Exhbition stop just up ahead there. And just on the left is the Dufferin Loop. That's where the 504B King streetcar comes to an end. I also think it's where the 929 Dufferin Express bus starts. Although I think the 29 Dufferin bus goes all the way to the Prince's Gates. Feel free to correct me down in the comments if I'm wrong on that. So I'm walking north up the east side of Dufferin Street. And I think there's even plans for a western LRT or streetcar expansion to run through Exhbition Place and head up here to the Dufferin Loop, and that could potentially connect to the 504 line. And there's a sign that says "Welcome to Parkdale." On the left is the Parkdale neighborhood, and on the right is Liberty Village. And this is the entrance to the South Liberty Trail. I did a video on this, I think about a year ago. And it features old silos and other elements covered in rather interesting art. And there's the 504B King streetcar. So we've had quite the run of rather nice days in a row now. I think it's looking like tomorrow will be another nice one, although maybe not quite as hot as today. And Dufferin Street should give us an interesting mix of residential, commercial, and old industrial uses. And here's an old factory or warehouse that's been converted into modern offices as the Light Factory. I think its official name is the Light Factory Lofts. There goes a 29 bus. here is Liberty Street. So you could turn right here and head through the heart of Liberty Village. And that was the bus a fellow YouTuber, the Ken Continuum, tried to get on. And the driver incorrectly told him he couldn't record on the bus, at least not with getting permission of every individual rider, which is contrary to the information that TTC provides on their own website. Here's a rather artistic bench. And Dufferin Street here goes north to just north of Highway 401. It comes to an end just south of Downsview Airport. And then it resumes just north of the airport, or rather north of Shepherd West Subway Station. And it kind of runs as this weird little residential side street for several blocks parallel to the Allen Road. Then the Allen Road turns into Dufferin Street at some point. And from there it heads north for quite a while, I think all the way up to near the town of Bradford. And Liberty Village here is full of a lot of old factories and warehouses. So this is King Street coming up. And normally the King streetcar would continue left, or one of them, and then turn right at Roncesvalles and head all the way up to Dundas West Station. But there's some work being done on the line, so this is as far east as I think you'll see a King streetcar. They're all turning south here at Dufferin. And this intersection recently lost its Burger King, which was located in that spot there. There's a look east with the financial district off in the distance. And before that, it lost its McDonald's, which was located on the spot of that new condo going up. And I mentioned that Dufferin Street runs to just north of Highway 401 before it's interrupted. Well, it used to get interrupted just up ahead here at Queen Street. And for the longest time, you'd have to turn onto Queen Street and take some side streets to find your way back to Dufferin Street.
That's great.
And that was known as the Dufferin Jog. And we'll be getting pretty close to that spot. There's some apartment buildings on this side. And some older homes across the street. So it's got kind of a similar vibe to Bathurst Street. I think most of these homes came after the 1920s, up until post-World War II. Well, these ones might be a bit older than that. I think Dufferin Street was originally just a residential street. And and in time it was later upgraded to become a fairly major arterial. And in 2017, it was voted by CAA members, I think, as the worst street in the province of Ontario. It was in rather rough shape, although it's since been resurfaced. So this is Queen Street coming up, and for a period of over 100 years, you would not have been able to travel north through Queen Street. So that was known as the Dufferin Jog, and I think most vehicles would turn right. I remember coming up to Dufferin Mall with my dad as a kid, and we would often come that way, and we'd have to turn right here. Then you'd turn left at Gladstone, and then make another left, I think at a street called Peel, and then come back to Dufferin. And the reason for that was this rail crossing got in the way. I think in the 1800s, this was an at-grade rail crossing, and there was an old Parkdale train station located at this intersection. Now, at some point, Dufferin Street was blocked off at the north, and for a period of over 100 years, it was not accessible until 2010, when it was finally corrected. There's someone waving a cane around. These people are all waiting for the bus. So on the right, this is the start of West Queen West. And that is Parkdale on the left still. So this is all relatively new. And you can actually go on Google Maps Street View and adjust the year back to, I think, 2007 if you want to see what this used to look like. Those steps would take you up to the rail corridor. I think this is the same corridor the Up Express train takes from Union Station to the airport. There's a big new condo. All these great condos on the left are fairly new. For the longest time, they were rather unattractive old warehouses. They seem to have a metal construction. I think these ones went up in 2019. And here is Peel Avenue. So if you were taking the Dufferin Jog, this is the street you would have come along to connect back to Dufferin. So you could not have gone south here and found your way to Queen Street. And that is Gladstone Avenue, just to the east. There are some signs for an NDP candidate. It is provincial election season. Some pretty cool artwork on the side of this building. And I think this area is actually Little Portugal. We elect that particular candidate. So this is an orange riding. There's a public school. I think that's a number of public schools, actually. I think that's Alexander Muir and Gladstone Avenue Junior and Senior Public School, along with the Grove Community School. I think that's an alternative school. Alexander Muir and Gladstone, 1888 to 1988. At one point, Alexander Muir and Gladstone were two separate schools and they merged together. I think that was in the early 80s. And the total student body there is around 502 students. Waiting for the 29 bus, which I think goes all the way north to around Wilson Avenue. And then there's another Dufferin bus that runs from Shepherd West north up to somewhere in Vaughan. That's the city just to the north of here. I should know that bus number. I used to have to take it. I used to work up near Dufferin and Steeles. And there's something you don't see a whole lot of in the suburbs, but you should. And And that's a residence with commercial zoning. That one's been turned into a Portuguese shop. So I've gone by King and Queen, so the next major east-west street should be Dundas. And after that, College, and then we'll be at Bloor Street, where Dufferin Station is. I've done Dufferin Street videos before, but they've always been in the other direction. Not sure why that is. So Dufferin was originally mostly a narrow two-lane street. And I think it was in 1949 when they started a street widening program. That's one of the reasons it doesn't really seem to have a cohesive feel to it. It's all kind of random. Originally all old homes, and random businesses have popped up here and there. Here's Dundas Street West. You get a really neat look towards the financial district off in the distance. I've always liked this view from here. Bringing Las Vegas to Toronto. And I think this is St. Anne's Parish. And that is now a theater space, Gargantua Theater. And we're not too far from College Street now. And I don't know how anyone not wearing shorts and a t-shirt are doing it today. We just kind of went from cold spring weather right to the middle of summer. There's 29 bus. We'll be heading down to the Prince's Gates. That's the eastern entrance to Exhbition Place. There's a Liberal block. I've seen a lot of orange and red signs, not a whole lot of blue. I guess that's not very surprising given where we are. And here is College Street. And not too far north of here is Dufferin Mall. I think the neighborhood on the left now is known as Brockton. And on the right we have Dufferin Grove. I did a walk around this area last year and I cut through the mall. There's the mall off in the distance. And Dufferin Mall has been here since 1956. And prior to that, a horse race track was on that site, a rather notorious one. That was there since 1907. There were a number of racetracks around the city back then, including a big one up at Thorncliffe Park. My dad used to manage a bowling alley in the basement of Dufferin Mall here. We'd often come here when I was a kid and I'd go to work with him. I'd just muck around playing the arcades and bowling. And we'd often park right on this street here. And sadly, there's a ghost bike. So that means at or near this intersection, this unfortunate person lost her life 1997 to 2020. You see way too many of those. And you'll notice a lack of proper biking infrastructure, even though a street like this ought to have it. could definitely cheat and hop on this bike, or this bus, and take it up to Dufferin Station. Bus has been coined the Suffering Dufferin. Well, I've never personally found it that bad. I've also never had to rely on it. And this park over here is quite nice, and it features an ice rink. And that mall is anchored by a Walmart and a no-frills grocery store. There's also a large Winners. It's either a Winners or a Marshalls. I think it's a Winners. Originally, it was anchored by a Horizon discount store that later became an Eaton's. That was later converted into a no-frills. And there's the no-frills. I remember as a kid going into the Walmart, and I think it was a Woolco back then. That was a large discount store similar to Walmart. And I think when Walmart came to Canada, they bought out the leases of a lot of former Woolcos. I think that's how they got their store at Square One as well. Oh, there's a Winners and a Marshalls. Man, how could I miss a Toys R Us? It's kind of interesting, there's a Winners and a Marshalls. They're both quite similar. And they're owned by the same parent company. And I just hit 10,000 steps today. That is on the low side. It's been a while since I've used my camera in hot weather like this. It's feeling quite hot to the touch. As long as I can hold out for about 5 more minutes or so, we should be good. And there's the old Kent Senior Public School. There's some demolition hoarding going up around it. And I think that school was closed back in 2012. I think a shrinking student body is to blame. And just around the corner from it is the Bloor Collegiate Institute. And straight ahead is Bloor Street. So this would be video number 2 of 2 I've recorded today. Best pops ever. I'm not going to try to pronounce that, I'll get it wrong. It's a taco restaurant. And holy cow, there's a lot of people waiting for the southbound Dufferin bus. It's not uncommon to see a DJ here at the street corner. There's a Ferrari getting honked at. And their chariot is arriving. And service has just resumed. It seems like it was down between Broadview and St. George. That's a good thing. So I'm going to head down to the eastbound platform. And on that note, I hope you enjoyed this one. Walking north up Dufferin Street. If you wish to support the channel, there's links to my Patreon and YouTube channel membership in the description. And I have an Instagram account at Johnny Strides. All right, thanks for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.
The next station is Ossington Station.